guys, welcome to ATland, and today I'm going to introduce you the smallest Infinity Nikki machine. So this is the Retroid Mini, and I have had it with me for a few weeks. So if you saw my last video, you know that I've been playing Infinity Nikki on my Steam Deck, but it is a little bit big to bring outside with me, so I tried to play it on my Retroid Mini, and it has been running really good even at the highest settings. So today we are going to do a little review on the Retroid Mini, and now I'm going to show you the spec of it, and after that we are going to go into the details. If you wonder, this is not an affiliated review. I bought my Retroid Pocket Mini with my own money, but I bought it at launch, so it was a little bit cheaper than that of $199. For your information, the color I bought is Saturn, and I have used some Switch Lite accessories to decorate my Pocket Mini, so it looks a little bit different. That's pretty much about the housekeeping matters, and let's finally dive into our review. This is actually the best 4x3 handheld that I have had so far, and I am really loving it. So first of all, I want to take a look at the buttons now. Just turn down the volume of this game. So with the dpad here, it is actually movable and it is quite clicky. For the face buttons here, if you can hear the sound, they are also relatively clicky. However, they are soft enough for me to enjoy my rhythm games and so on. For the joysticks here, these are actually having some distance from the bottom, and they are not interfering with the sides, so I've been enjoying it a lot. And because they have some kind of distance over here, even if I'm using this kind of big joystick cover, they are not going to interfere. On the front we have these buttons, start and select, and then home button and back button, and on the top we also have some buttons like power button, volume buttons, shoulder buttons, and triggers. For the triggers here, this is having a little bit of trouble, but not too much, so I think everything is having a good balance, and I have been enjoying it a lot, especially when they have these little grips here. These are very comfortable to hold, and as I mentioned in many videos already, I have small hands, and this is holding very well on my small hands. However, because of that, I think this is a little bit difficult to recommend this device to guys who have bigger hands. Especially, you can imagine this is going to be a smaller device. So if your eyesight is not as good, this could be a challenge. But other than that, this is really a good device. This is a PS game, a PS game, or so to say. As you can see, since they are using 4x3 as their original aspect ratio, you're not going to have any kind of bezels and like black bars. It is going to run in full screen, so this is one good point to be enjoyable. On the other hand, other than PlayStation, PlayStation 2 games are also in this 4x3 aspect, and it also runs super well. So I have this Popolo Kuroitsu game here. This is one of the most difficult game to emulate on PS2. Many people may not be familiar with that. This is a JRPG game, and it always crash or have some lags and problem with the audios, and also slow down a lot. However, let's turn the volume up a bit. It just runs perfectly on this device, and it just surprised me. So you can see it's running beautifully here. and there is no problem with the sound. We can skip the video a bit and start a new game. So let's just skip the intro video and skip this one too. So now we are in game. Let's turn down the volume a little bit. You see our little prince is running without any kind of slowdown, and everything is just showing so pretty here. So I have to say PS2 on Retro Mini is super enjoyable. For example, for other platforms as well, for example, for PSP, this is not going to be 4:3 aspect ratio. However, I actually stretch it to full screen. And I don't think that is a big problem. It's also going to show very well in 4:3 as well. So I think I personally enjoy stretching it to full screen a lot. So if you wonder how to do that, you can go to the menu, and then here is display layout and effect. If you check the stretch button, it will stretch to full screen. If you stretch it, it will go back to 16:9. And I'm actually okay with this setup. So this is just a personal preference, but I would like to see it this way, and I don't find it as a problem. For other emulation at a higher end, like this one, some of the games are going to run. I'm not going to show you any of that. Even if we stretch it to 4:3, it is still enjoyable, in my opinion. However, since we are running on Android 10 right now, we cannot install the latest and the best version of this emulator, so that is a pity. Before I am going to show you games with two screen, I have to point out that there is some problems with Android 10, and it does not work well with Digiso. For example, if we want to launch 3DS game directly, it is not going to work. It will say Citra keeps stopping, but that's not the actual situation. If you launch Citra first, it is going to open this menu for you. Then you can swap back to your library, and it's going to run. What I want to say is that there are many little things that are being hurdles of your gameplay because of Android 10, and Android 10 is not really enjoyable. I don't understand why Retro cannot release their device after finishing Android 13. This is like a kind of an incomplete product to me, because I mean, like, hardware wise it is very good. I don't have any complaint about that, but software wise, as they know that they are going to use Android 13 in the very beginning, why they have to release it in Android 10, I do not understand. And I'm filming this on the 1st of December 2024, yet we have not received any update for Retroid Mini on Android 13. I really hope that they can do it as soon as possible, because in the later part of this video, I'm going to talk about what kind of problems that I have encountered with Android 10. And because we have not received Android 13 update, I do not want to install Linux OS, because I'm not sure whether there's going to be anything that are not going to be compatible with the Android 13 OS, and I do not want to risk it. I do not want to install everything from scratch. And that's why I have not finished the setup of this device completely. Anyways, I have to shout out to my friend Eyeshade Usagi for making this beautiful 2DSLL lavender version of overlay into 4:3 aspect. He actually made me one for 16:9, and I begged him to make me another one for this review. So I'm really grateful for whatever he has done. And you look at this is so pretty. For every game that are running on 2 screens, including 3DS and NDS. For 3DS, it is actually better to run at this kind of layout because if you are running side by side, it's going to be super small, and actually you don't need that much of a big screen for the bottom part. If you really need to swap the screen, if you exit the game and then go back to Citra, you can go here and you can go to input binding. You can map your L3 to settings, swap screen to R3, then you'll have the same setup as mine, and it is going to be very useful if you're playing 3DS game. Anyways, for NDS game, I'm using the same setup as Miu Mini, so that is a more easy way for me to look at. And I have to say that this kind of 2-screen setup are going to be better in comparison to 16:9 handhelds in my opinion. Alright, so now I want to talk about what kind of things that are very inconvenient with Android 10. For example, I have Pickle 8 here. If we run Retroid first, and then I've already set up a playlist for Pickle 8. Just press it, run, it runs. No problem. So that's Pickle 8. However, somehow on Android 10, it is not working well with Daijiso or so for example, I can run the same game here, and instantly we are getting a black screen. So what happens is that it crashes our Retroid. So if we go to Retroid, it's not working. It is all white. What we have to do to recover from this situation is to go to settings and go to apps and force stop it. Now we'll be able to run Retroid again, and we can run games from here. So that's one of the things with Android 10. I mean, there are many people using Daijiso, and this is going to be very inconvenient. Of course, people will say, oh, you can use a launcher from Retroid, but well, I'm not really a big fan of that launcher, to be honest. And the other biggest reason that Android 10 is a hurdle for this device is we are stuck to install those apps that are only supporting Android 10. What I'm meaning is that, for example, this newer emulator is not going to install. And for example, this older one over here is not going to install anyways. So that means we are limited to certain number of emulators, and there will be some emulators that are not going to be playable on this device just because it is running on Android 10. If we got an OTA update for Android 13, these are going to run, and I can say, although I'm not going to show you, these is going to run as well. Not all the games, of course, but it is not bad at all. So yeah, I mean, this is a good device and I really enjoy playing it a lot. However, I do not understand why Retroid do not release it after they finish their Android 10. Okay, again, this happens again, so I really can't play them directly from Daiji, so I have to stop my Retroid again, and this is annoying. Apart from all the hurdles of Android 10 that I have mentioned, even if you are not a retro gamer, you can still very much enjoy this device. What I'm trying to say is that there are more and more Android games that have native controller support, just like this one. Although it is not made for 4x3 content, still it is very much playable, and because of the nature of Android, it is trying to fit to our 4x3 screen. Games like Minecraft are going to run at full speed, and you can also download the favorite worlds of yours to this device. We don't have any issue with the aspect ratio nor the controller support, so this is also one of the very enjoyable Android games that you can play on this device. Infinity Nikki, on the other hand, is also a very demanding title, especially if you have ever tried to run it on your phone. You'll know that it is going to make your phone pretty warm or even a little bit hot. However, with the active cooling, aka the fan at the back of this device, it actually helps a lot with cooling and enhance the performance. Therefore, it is running very stable at high settings as well. I've been enjoying this game on my Retro Pocket Mini a lot. The only downside is that because the screen is too small, the text is barely readable. I'm not sure whether there will be an update for adjusting the text size. However, since we are playing in controller mode, basically it is just going to show us whatever we can see. Identically to PS5, you can see all those buttons showing in PS5 buttons, so that is the biggest downside. However, if you are familiar with the game enough, you don't really need to read the text, because like for most of the dialogues you're going to have the voiceover as well. So if that's the case, you'll be able to enjoy the game. And that's pretty much about what I want to express in this video. I hope you like it. In my next video, I'm going to do a review for Retro Pocket 5. After that, I'm going to do a comparison between the Pocket 5 and the Mini. And afterwards, I'm going to go back to the Steam Deck and do a customization tutorial. I hope you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!